Tonight, the accused killer in the death of Charlie Kirk now in custody. The shooting and the suspect.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
Who helped in his surrender and the inscriptions found on bullet casings. Tennis matches in Canada facing protest.
We live in a world that is increasingly violent.
Fundamentally, this is about unrest. It's not really about what's going on half a world away.
What led to the controversial call to play on without spectators. Plus, a family's lone survivor.
Without my mother, father, and sister, it feels like there's no point in life.
How a son channeled the courage to confront grief following the attack on the Lapu Lapu Festival.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. A manhunt that lasted just 33 hours has come to an end. The person authorities believe is responsible for the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk is now behind bars. Tonight, Kirk's widow spoke out about her loss.
My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children.
Erica Kirk vowed to continue her husband's work. His death comes at a time of deep division in America. Utah's governor calling it a make-or-break moment in history. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbin on what we're learning about the suspect.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
With those words, authorities identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah as a suspect in connection with the targeted killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. After these images were released last night and a video of a suspect jumping from a rooftop, police say Robinson's father confronted his son and, with the help of a youth pastor, convinced him to turn himself in.
A family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
A family member told investigators Robinson had become more political, expressing anger in chat groups and to friends.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
Police found a high-powered rifle and bullet casings with disturbing messages. As for motive, here's what the governor said.
The clearest one that says catch fascist, there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
Kirk, a husband and father, was a rock star in the MAGA movement, debating controversial subjects like transgender issues, and a fierce ally of Donald Trump, who broke the news on air.
I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
As Utah's governor pleaded for political healing.
This is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice.
Robinson was arrested on charges of aggravated murder. He'll be formally charged next Tuesday. Police are confident he acted alone and is being held without bail. Heather?
Thanks, Joy. CTV's Joy Malbin in Washington. Meanwhile, a cabinet minister in Manitoba is apologizing for sharing a social media post about the killing of Charlie Kirk. Families Minister Nahanni Fontaine had shared a post that described Kirk as racist, sexist, and transphobic. The post's author adding that they extend absolutely no empathy for people like that. Fontaine later removed the repost and issued an apology, saying violence has no place in our democracy. This is the second apology from Fontaine in the past few months. In June, she apologized for a hot mic moment where she was caught complaining about an ASL interpreter she was sharing the stage with. The Davis Cup showdown between Canada and Israel is being played without any tennis fans in the stands, but there are plenty of protesters outside. As CTV's Paul Hollingsworth reports, the decision by Tennis Canada to shut them out was made over heightened security concerns.
A massive protest outside with a unified message. Inside empty Scotiabank Centre, a world-class tennis match is taking place without fans. These protesters say that's not enough. They want Israel removed from the Davis Cup over the war in Gaza. Elle Jones is one of the organizers of the demonstration.
We live in a world that is increasingly violent, a world that is increasingly filled with hatred, a world where life is less and less valued. And so we have an opportunity here to value life, and that's what this is about.
The Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs CEO Noah Shack says the protesters have shut down the ability for fans to watch tennis in person, and there's now a precedent that could impact future events in Canada.
Fundamentally, this is about unrest. It's not really about what's going on half a world away. It's about what's happening right here in our country, in our cities, in our streets.
There's a heavy police presence in downtown Halifax. Tennis Canada has also confirmed they have added extra security to provide protection for the athletes. According to CTV safety analyst Chris Lewis, closing this event is an example of police being extra cautious and not taking any chances when it comes to public safety.
They'd rather be criticized for going too far in terms of the protection of this event, as opposed to getting caught with their pants down and not having the right plans and resources in place to effect a positive outcome.
The Davis Cup will continue on Saturday, and protesters plan to return in a demonstration they say will be large and loud. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
The Canadian Union of Postal Workers will lift its overtime ban starting Monday and will instead take a different kind of job action.
We call on Canada Post to accept the union's global offers or come back to the table.
The union, representing 55,000 Canada Post employees, now says it won't deliver commercial flyers. Canada Post responded, saying the move will only increase the uncertainty that is having a major impact on the business. The heads of state for Mexico and Canada are set to meet next week. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum revealing today she will host Prime Minister Carney for a new round of trade talks. The pair will meet Thursday with a plan to discuss Canadian investment in areas like Mexican mining. Surviving the trade war with the U.S. requires getting Canadian goods to more markets. That's why 2 ports are on the Prime Minister's major projects list. CTV's Judy Trin explains how they could take shape.
Expanding the Port of Montreal is one of the major projects on the fast track for approval. It's a gateway to new markets in Northern Europe and Africa.
We'll advance projects that turbocharge and connect our regional economies.
The port is bursting. Authorities say if it doesn't increase its capacity, Canadian companies may have to go through U.S. ports to ship across the Atlantic Ocean.
If Canadian companies that are now exporting to the U.S. choose another destination, with a modest 6%, the Port of Montreal will be full. So if we don't have any more capacity, what will happen is those companies will use an American port.
When it's built, the Contrecoeur terminal will reduce emissions while increasing the port's capacity by more than 1 million containers. The federal government is promising to greenlight construction this fall, so the project can be finished by 2030.
The Major Projects Office will enable us to take those final steps as quickly as possible.
We are referring Port of Churchill Plus.
The port in northern Manitoba is also being considered for streamlined approvals. It's an Indigenous-led project. The plans here include using icebreakers to extend operations beyond the summer and improving roads and train routes to bring resources from the west to ship out.
So that customers can go on a year-round or close to year-round basis. So that's really the game changer, and it really allows us to diversify that trade to Europe and diversify ourselves away from the U.S.
Building a port in the Arctic is also under consideration for fast tracking. The goal for these projects of national importance is to have them approved within 2 years. Once that happens, they'll also be in line for significant federal funding. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A long-dormant factory in Ontario is about to come back to life thanks to a major investment from Canada's largest food can maker.
Add value as opposed to shipping it to the U.S. to be processed and then buying it back for twice as much.
Quebec-based Ideal Can is investing $80 million into the Crown Metal packaging plant in Chatham, Ontario. It's been empty for nearly a decade. At full capacity, it will produce about 1 billion cans a year and create around 100 jobs and potentially hundreds more in the supply chain. Toronto's condo market has plummeted, with sales of new units dropping to dramatic new lows. Some people who bought their condo pre-construction now find themselves facing losses in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. CTV's Heather Wright explains.
This building was supposed to be Dimitri Bazios' retirement plan. Instead, it could force him into bankruptcy.
It's causing stress and distress and misery.
In 2020, Bazios and his wife put down a deposit for a 600-square-foot condo in Toronto, valued at $884,000. But as interest rates rose and the condo market fell, keeping the investment property became impossible. The Bazios couldn't close on their condo, and it was recently sold on assignment for $590,000. They're now on the hook to cover the difference.
And now I have a mortgage on this property for $300,000, and I don't own it.
The Bazios story is becoming more common in markets like Toronto and Vancouver, where condo sales have plummeted. In Toronto, condo sales were down 21% in the second quarter compared to the year before, with many forced to sell their units at a loss.
Those buildings.
Ari Zadagan is a broker that specializes in distressed sales. She says those who bought a condo in the last 5 years and hope to flip it are losing thousands.
The ones that they were only dependent on the flip are the ones that are hurting.
The soft condo market in Toronto could have a long-term impact on housing supply. Fewer people want to invest in pre-construction, a key part of financing, and developers are backing out of projects. Real estate consulting firm Urbanation has tracked 9 canceled projects in Toronto so far this year. For Bazios, he would like to see not only changes to the ways condos are financed, but also to how they're built.
And stop designing these shoeboxes, because nobody wants them.
There could be some relief in sight, with the Bank of Canada set to make an interest rate announcement next week, with some economists predicting a modest rate cut. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A decision by the NHL is drawing both criticism and praise tonight. The 5 former World Junior Hockey players acquitted of sexual assault will be allowed to play in the league starting December 1st. CTV's John Venevali Rao on what experts say teams will have to weigh when deciding to sign a player.
Oh, what a save by Hart! Of all of the players who were acquitted, goaltender Carter Hart appears to have the best shot at returning to the NHL. His former team, the Flyers, have yet to say whether they'll pursue a deal, but reportedly several teams are watching with interest.
I think for a guy like Carter Hart, a team that needs a good backup goalie, a team that can go on a deep playoff run but needs a little insurance, that's what I could see taking a chance on Carter Hart.
In July, a judge found Hart and 4 other players not guilty of sexually assaulting a woman in a London hotel room. The NHL now says they can start playing in December, and the Players Association says it considers the matter closed and looks forward to the players' return. But some think for the less talented members of the group, teams will be reluctant to sign them.
A star goaltender will have no difficulty playing in the NHL. A borderline player will have an abundantly difficult time playing in the NHL because teams won't want to deal with the potential repercussion and backlash.
Alex Formenton had been with the Ottawa Senators before he was charged. Asked if they want him back, in a statement the Sens says they are aware of the NHL's ruling and will have no further comment at this time. Formenton recently returned to playing in Switzerland and did one of his first hockey-related interviews in years.
Yeah, it feels amazing. I mean, to get back out on the ice, it feels really good.
I think they should own it. Allison Forsyth promotes safe sport and was disappointed with the NHL's decision, though she thinks if the players expressed regret publicly, it would help.
And just stand up and say what we did and what is happening in hockey is wrong. And no one is more powerful to educate on that than someone who has done those things. So I think that's a huge opportunity.
The NHL says teams can start signing the players as of October 15th, something that will be closely watched. John Venevali Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up.
Without my mother, father, and sister, it feels like there's no point in life.
How a man who lost his family in an horrific attack is working to honor their legacy. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand says she summoned the Russian ambassador this week over the incursion of Russian drones into Poland, an incident that's also led to a new NATO mission announced today.
NATO is launching Eastern Sentry to bolster our posture even further along our eastern flank. This military activity will commence in the coming days.
Poland shot down Russian drones entering its territory earlier this week. The new operation will involve multinational military assets. A man has been shot dead by an ICE officer after a confrontation in Chicago. According to U.S. Immigration and Customs officials, a man with a history of reckless driving drove his car into ICE agents, dragging an officer who then opened fire. The officer was severely injured but is in stable condition. A man who lost his family in the horrific attack on the Lapu-Lapu Festival earlier this year is sharing his grief tonight and how he's trying to honor their legacy. CTV's Shannon Patterson has his emotional story.
Yeah, I feel broken beyond repair.
The passage of time has done little to ease the pain for Alejandro Samper, who lost his father Daniel Samper, his mother Glitza Maria Casedo, and his sister Glitza Daniela Samper in the Lapu-Lapu Festival attack.
Without my mother, father, and sister, it feels like there's no point in life. I can't live without them. I love them so much, and now that they're gone, it doesn't make sense.
As the only surviving member of his immediate family, Samper has a lot on his shoulders.
Crying every day for hours, and at the same time I've been packing all of my parents' things, belongings, moving it to my house, dealing with the estate matters.
Samper says he's given very little thought to Adam Lowe, the man accused of driving his SUV through the festival, killing 11 people and injuring 31 others. But he is glad a judge has found Lowe fit to stand trial.
There's got to be justice, and we have to see it.
He hopes a trial sheds some light on the mental health care Lowe was receiving leading up to the festival attack that forever changed so many families.
It destroys your life. It puts you in a place where you're not normal anymore. You can't function in society anymore.
The 34-year-old visual and interactive artist is trying to channel his pain into a lasting legacy for his mother, father, and sister.
We're starting a nonprofit organization called Samper Caicedo Legacy. Right now we're in the stages of legalizing it with the government. Our focus is helping individuals that have suffered from traumatic events.
He says it's what his mother would have wanted.
She finds so much joy in helping others, so it's definitely one of the things that I hope by doing will bring me close to my mother.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Burnaby.
Still ahead, a growing crisis on the streets. Why more seniors are joining Canada's unhoused population. "1,200 electric school buses have been pulled off the road in Quebec after one burst into flames. This Lion electric bus caught fire in Montreal on Tuesday. The driver and 6 students managed to escape without injury. The rest of the fleet has been taken out of service as a precaution and is undergoing an inspection this weekend. The number of people experiencing homelessness in our country is growing, along with concerns for unhoused seniors. CTV's Alison Bamford takes a look at the issue.
Saskatoon's Salvation Army can be a safe haven or a stop along the way to permanent housing. And inside, workers have helped people of all ages.
We've had seniors here ranging from 50 to 95.
About 4% of the shelter's clients are seniors, up slightly from last year, a small number that still carries big concern.
That's not where any of us want to be at that stage in life.
27% of people experiencing homelessness in Canada are over the age of 50, 4% older than 65, an issue that some say is getting worse.
We are seeing a trend of increased seniors in our shelter population. It is a general trend, and in some cases, it's one of the fastest growing trends.
The rising cost of living and rent, along with the death of a spouse and loss of a second income, are all contributing factors.
So there's just a lot more pressures when people get older, when they're on fixed income and they have, higher medical needs.
Part of the increase is simply due to the homeless population aging, but experts say about half of unhoused seniors experience homelessness for the first time after the age of 55, and they come to shelters with very unique needs.
Their needs are more around mobility and maintaining health and, being able to use their walker or wheelchair.
Joe Humphreys is lead coordinator for the research project Aging in the Right Place, searching for solutions to specifically support seniors facing homelessness. One facet of a complicated crisis.
It can be overwhelming if you're trying to solve the whole thing all at once. So when we can make some progress, then we celebrate that and try to make more progress.
Small victories that will eventually add up. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, carving a lasting legacy. 92 years old and showing he's still a cut above the competition. More than a family tradition, up next. We leave you tonight with the story of a man who's still going strong in his chosen profession, long after many others would have retired. In fact, he's 92, and he's still a key piece of his family's butcher shop. CTV's Maria Saru shows us why he's still a cut above.
Adding another piece of pork to the pile, Mervyn McPhee's day starts like this. Custom cuts behind the butcher's block.
I'll come in, and they don't start clapping when I can be in the morning.
But at 92, he deserves a round of applause. Mervyn learned the trade from his father, the second of 4 generations to stand here. Walking takes a little more care now, but his favorite task hasn't changed.
And I think I can bone as good as any of them. I get the most meat off the bone.
The day-to-day operations fall to his son, Lindsay,
grinder, sausage maker,
who started here as a teenager. Now in his 60s, he also has no plans to slow down.
Where a lot of people are, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Well, I know what I'm going to do today because there's lots to do.
But soon, Lindsay's son Ryan will take the reins. It's a labor of love for the McPhees. Over 90 years, the business has changed hands and priorities. Fewer farm kills, more retail, and products people can buy. But the constant is service to their community and the island. The family hopes a 5th generation will take over here at McPhee's Meats, and one of the great-grandchildren is already a contender. Maria Sru, CTV News, Clyde River, Prince Edward Island.
That is our newscast for this Friday night. I'm Heather Butts. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.